Welcome to Amnesia. My name is I mean Eric. I mean something. I don't know. Today, we're going to talk about Motel Universe. This is like an outsider art, science fiction, weirdo, awesome, world-building comic. I first found out about this on the Comics Journal, and this is like early 2020. This is right before all the crazy shit happened. I just thought it seemed like a really cool comic, so I picked it up and read it, and I really loved it. And I just reread this recently. I think it still holds up. I mean, it wasn't really that long ago, so there's not much to hold up from. But yeah, this is a colorful, fun comic. It has this rich imagination to it. There's the alien races and the planets, just like the different monsters are so creative. Very childlike. Other than the penis-faced man and the vagina-faced man, and maybe like the elephant that snorts blow. We'll leave that out, but yeah. This is a series of graphic novels. There's two of them. So the first one is just Motel Universe. The second one is Motel Universe Fashion Empire. I prefer the first one over the second one. I feel like the second one can get a little convoluted at times, and it's kind of hard to understand what's going on. Maybe just for me. So the first one stars the skins. So there's this like alien race where they have like diamonds and jewels all over their skin and face and body, and they're like poached and hunted by these other aliens. Notably the Jeffs. They're these like weird dog creatures, and every Jeff is named Jeff. So like they'll have a conversation together and it's like, "Hey Jeff, how's it going?" "Pretty good, Jeff. Have you seen Jeff lately? Is he doing well?" "Yeah, Jeff, I talked to him last week. He was hanging out with Jeff and our friend Jeff. Jeff's doing great." So there's a lot of hijinks with that. There's the alien races in here are very creative. I got a burp in me. Whoa. I didn't know I had that much in this small, slender body. So, it stars a father and a daughter skin, and they're both vigilantes on the loose, trying not to get captured. There's a ship of Jeffs on their tail, and they're going after them. As soon as they try to escape, they get captured by these Jeffs. They're hauled out to this planet of lush forests and nature. There's all these like weird plant creatures, and they're put into captivity with all these other skins who've been stuck here. And actually the mother of the daughter has been missing as well, and it's kind of implied that she was captured by the Jeffs and she was at some point in this camp. So as you can see, there's like a lot of satire in this. The skins are kind of used as like as a race. You can say like the Jews in the Holocaust or whatever, but I don't think it's like any particular race or that they're commenting on. So on this planet, there's of course the Jeffs, who are ruled by their overlord Caligula's ghost. And yes, it's the Caligula from ancient Rome. He is in this as a ghost form, as like this weird alien ghost creature. And then there's also the Hermans. They're like these magical fairies that live underground. They kind of feel like something from a cereal commercial. They're like these magical fairies underground, and they're so like whimsical and fun and flamboyant. But on this planet, the skins are eventually released, and there's all these like scummy, weirdo bounty hunters, like scum of the earth type characters, often very colorful and creative as far as their whole shtick. Like there's one guy that he can lick a frog and then he automatically becomes much smaller, so he can, and then he's like riding the frog around. But anyway, there's like this Hunger Games scenario where all these bounty hunters are out for the skins, and the skins are running away free on this planet, just are being hunted down. But eventually, this is a really cool part, all the lead bounty hunters and Caligula himself, they like astral project This sounds really crazy and trippy now that I'm explaining this. They turn into all the flora and fauna on this planet, and they're able to control these plants and animals and move around and cause chaos in this planet. So you got these like plant people running around chasing the skins, and they're like alien plant people, so they're very surreal and crazy. There's even like these like weird egg people. And then when things haven't gotten weirder enough, the planet gets bought out by Barton Flump, who's like this parody of Donald Trump. He's like this really sleazy businessman who's like a loudmouth, kind of a dick face, and he wants to like turn this entire forest planet into like this big cityscape where he can run his motels and he can make some money off of like sinning and sleaziness and hookers and drugs. This whole book, it seems like one thing happens to the next, and it's just like a constant, and it's very entertaining. It's like a constant change of guards. It's like Game of Thrones in like weird indie comics form. The art in this is very colorful and cool and beautiful. It gets compared to Fleischer Hanks a lot, and it's rightfully so, because you can definitely see the influence from Fleischer Hanks. But I will also say there's just like this outsider art bent to it. Like it, you know, reminds me of like Mark Beyer a lot. It kind of reminds me of like Daniel Johnston. And also a little interesting footnote about the author, Joachim Drescher. He lives in Denmark now, but I was reading the back, and this guy is like literally from everywhere. Like he's lived in Denmark, he's lived in America, he's lived in New Zealand, he's lived in China, he's lived in Indonesia, and I'm thinking like, what is this man like? Like what? Because you know, if you grow up living in all these different countries from all over the place, like how do you speak? Like how do you think? Like you're like just being around these wide ranges of cultures like must give you this very strange insight. And off to the second book, Fashion Empire. This actually takes a completely different turn because there's like a new character in this. So in the beginning, this story, it's like in the same universe, but there's completely different characters. But then towards the end, we kind of catch up to the old characters in the first book. Kind of a cool change of pace. But the characters and the story has like a very similar vibe to it. It feels almost a little recycled from the first book, I will say. Yeah, it's kind of like this little girl, she's just kind of hanging out on this planet, and she loses her mother and her father, grows up in her 20s, meets this man who is one of the bounty hunters from the first book, it turns out, and he gets captured and taken to this planet called Pear Planet, which is a satire on Apple. Instead of Apple, it's pear. And all the residents on this planet are called techies, and they create all these robots, and the robots kind of take over basically, and so all like the minimum wage workers, working class, are of no use anymore, so they're taken to this other planet called Adonis, and they're used as slaves basically. So this woman goes to Pear Planet. Then our main character like kicks ass, destroys all these hard drives, has these like cool robot fights, and then goes to Adonis and kicks ass. These comics kind of feel like a communist manifesto at points. There's a lot of like anti-hierarchy in these comics, especially this one compared to the first one has this like kind of communist vibe to it. But overall, I thought these comics were very creative. Love the art. Love the story. I especially love the world building in this, just like the different alien races and these planets and these different inventions and just ideas. Like it feels like there's so many ideas just splattered into this one book. I mean, Joachim Drescher, just a very creative, interesting guy. He definitely made some great books, and I'm excited to see what other books he has in the future. It's been too long. So that's all, folks. Eat your vegetables, get plenty of exercise, and just read comics and do whatever you want to do. Don't ask me, just do it. Just do it. Are you doing it? Are you doing it?